Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you today with a review for The Chi Season 3, Episode 4, I believe. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, completely out of order, but we're gonna make it do what it do. Let's start with Emmet. Okay, he got the baby at the park, and the baby is out there playing, and he's waiting on his dad Darnell to join him. And here come Darnell, always on that fucking Bluetooth. He walks up to Emmet, and Emmet was like, I just want to talk to you. I need some advice. Emmet tells him about him and Tiff trying to work it out. He was like, yeah, your mama told me that you guys said, oh, I got that. You and the mama talking a lot lately, huh, Darnell? Okay. Yeah, your mama told me that you're trying to make it work. And he was like, yeah, I don't even fuck around no more. He was like, well, you don't get no brownie points for that. That's what you're supposed to do. But what's the problem? Well, the problem is Tiffany don't want to have sex with him. Darnell was like, well, she's at least sucking your dick, right? Nope, she's not even doing that. And he's starting to get frustrated with it. And, Darnell was like, well, that's part being a grown-up. It ain't always about you and your needs and your wants and all of that. You got another person that you got to deal with. And Darnell, if he don't know anything with all the women he been involved with, yeah, it do get regular after a minute. It don't be all this excitement and having sex and fucking all over the place. Well, have you talked to her about it? And he was like, yeah, I did talk to her. And she was just like, you complaining that I don't want to have sex with you does not make me want to fuck you. Okay, so that doesn't help either. They're about to be going to a counselor. They've been ordered to go to a counselor, I guess, from the court. Is that what he said? And try to mediate and get themselves together so that they can co-parent, even though they are a couple now. Darnell was just like, oh, well, she probably is fucking somebody else. You probably need to go through her phone and see what's going on there. I said, Darnell, is this really your advice? So next we see he can't go through her phone, obviously, because she ain't there, but he goes through her IG. He trying to look for any kind of clues, comments, pictures, shit that's subtle that he might have missed. And Darnell was like, you ain't gonna find nothing on the IG. Like, these people, she probably don't even follow none of the niggas that she's fucking around with. Like, you ain't gonna find it there. Poor little Emmet trying to listen to Darnell. Okay, now, what is Tiff doing? Y'all know that she's the weed man. And she goes door to door and does what she does. We see her go over to Corey Hardrick's house, of all people. I was like, look at you. Every time I see him, I was like, he play an old dirty nigga real good. Everything that I have seen him in is always just a slightly shady nigga. And you wouldn't even think that, considering he's married to that nice little sweet little twin, Tia. But he definitely is he kind of is typecast a little bit with the slick kind of shady characters. But anyway, Tiff goes over there, she got her caboodles, opens it up, it's filled with all of her shit, that she's selling. She's trying to explain to him, what she got, strawberry pop and, grape love and all of this stuff. And he was just like, oh, okay, she was just like, yeah, this one does this one does that. But it's all real cozy. Like, you can tell that old Corey is interested in her. She pulls out some that he says he was interested in, the strawberry flavor, and he take a little puff on it, and he was like, okay, this is good. You want to join me? And she was like, no, I'm on the job. Can't be walking around fucked up and high. You know how that goes. All of a sudden, Corey wants to talk to her. You got a man, he fucking you right. She's like, yeah, I got a man. We deeper than that. It's more than that. And it's like, well, whenever you need some good dick, you know where to find me, that kind of thing. But Tiffany, at least for now, acts as if she's not interested. But I was like, I could kind of see a little bit of something there. It could go one way or the other. I said, Tiffany, girl, don't fuck this up. Although she could very easily, considering all the shit that Emmet didn't put her through. Remember that counseling session that Emmet told his dad that they had to go to? Okay, now they're at the counselors. And it is real ghetto fabulous. It is just two young ass kids that have no respect for this grown psychologist, counselor, psychiatrist, whatever she is. They cussing and fussing about not fucking each other, and how he might go find somebody else to fuck, and how she knows that he does that in the past. That's why she don't want to fuck on him now. And he don't, take care of his business. And he walking around slinging barbecue with some bitch and this. And I was just like, these kids too immature to be sitting up in this counseling session. He want to know why they not fucking. She say she not fucking him because she not on the pill no more. He say he gonna wear a condom. She was like, nigga, please. And she not trying to get pregnant again. We still don't get what happened to the pregnancy. I thought that was gonna be the time that we actually got the news on whether or not she had a miscarriage. Did she have an abortion? Did she, we didn't, nothing else about it. So I was frustrated. But she was like, I'm not trying to get pregnant by your ass again. And he said, well, why don't you get your tubes tied? She was like, nigga, why don't you get a vasectomy, child? Not the V word. Most men don't want to hear that. So yeah, the counseling session, it does not go well. Later on, we see Emmet. He's at Sonny's, and he's talking to Sonny about the counseling session, how Tiffany mentioned to him that he should get a vasectomy. And Sonny was like, hell, maybe you should get a vasectomy because you was awfully fertile. And you was just really a lot to put up with. Of course, Emmet being the young man that he is, he can learn a few things from Sonny. Sonny looked like he's lived quite some time, right? So Sonny tells him how he has to start to do the things that Tiff likes to do. Take it back to when you guys first got together and it was exciting. You need to try to make her happy again. And Emmet appreciates that, okay? Darnell telling him, yeah, she probably fucking around and you need to check her phone. And then you've got Sonny who's telling him to try to make the girl happy. Do what, she needs you to do. Emmet says, you're the wisest man that I know. So later on, we see Tiff. She's coming in the door, and I said, oh, Lord, Tiff is back at Corey Hardrick's house. But when she comes inside, she actually sees Emmet. He's got the baby. He's kind of jostling the baby around so the baby is asleep, and the room is all romantical and whatnots, candle lights, ambiance, okay, music. I'm assuming some food maybe up in there, wines. Okay, so he actually goes and puts the baby down to sleep, and then he comes back in there and he picks her up and takes her to the couch and takes off her shoes, massage her feet and get some strawberry and feed her strawberry and give her some wine. And child, they get undressed and he give her a old naked massage, and child, next thing you know, it's on. Okay, but it was all very, very sweet. Something that we have never seen Emmet do. Okay, again, they're changing Emmet's character as well. And you can tell that she really appreciated it. Okay, she seemed to be very happy. And sometimes these are the things that you can do to reconnect with your significant other. Okay, the whole time that they was doing it, I was like, where Jada at? I mean, she gonna walk in on it in any minute. I guess maybe she was at work. Let's jump over to the pizza place. We see the kids. They're working over there. They're actually working on Otis Perry's campaign for mayorship. They're boxing up stuff. Papa's complaining that this is not, sexy. This is not what he want to do. Politics is boring, and Jake is telling them how, Doodah's about to make some changes and, got big things popping. He did things for their little community. Now he's on next level. Papa's actually more impressed with the lady that he's running against. I don't know who it is, but both him and Kev was like, yeah, she got it going on as well. While they're working there, Kev gets a text message and Jake was like, it better not be that bitch from school. And Kev was like, don't talk about her. You cannot talk about this girl. Kev likes the girl. Jake said he don't like her. Papa just mad that he didn't know nothing about it. He was like, you guys got to keep the group chat going. I don't go to the school with you guys. I don't know what the hell going on. Kev says he just want to make sure that the girl know that he ain't like any of these other niggas around. And Jake was just like, he still don't like the bitch. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna fuck you up. You keep on talking. And Papa was like, I got to meet this girl. Okay, if she about to bring the fisticuffs between the homeboys, yeah, I need to meet her. All right. Well, while they're there talking, there's some patrons at the pizza place and they see a jar, help find Keisha jar and for donations. And one guy was like, she's still missing. He's like, yeah, that hoe still missing. Such a, very disrespectful. Well, Kev overhears it, and goes and punches old boy. I mean, the two-piece right there, knocks his ass out. What's wrong with you? He's like, that's my sister, homie. Okay, and the guy get out. Poor Kev. I said, poor Kev. I just feel so sorry for him. Kev can't figure out his emotions or anything. I just feel so bad. Where's Doodah? Okay, well, look, let me tell you, we get a back view of this woman walking down. You can tell she in the pizza place. She walking, got long ass hair, you know, and she was just like, is Otis in there? And because she's now in the campaign office section of the pizza place, and the lady was like, yes, he is, but do you have an appointment with him? And she was just like, I don't need an appointment, I'm his wife. We didn't see her face, you guys. She throws her jacket to somebody else, and she just walks in the room, and you know, when Doodah turns around, he's on the phone talking, but when he sees her, he was like, you know, let me call you back. And she was just like, hey baby, long time no see. I said, come on, Candy girl, you better do it. Real Housewives of Atlanta, following in Nene's footsteps, have Nene tell it. Because remember when Nene was on her, when she was on Glee for all them years, and she also was on that show, what was a New Normal, actually was really good. I was bummed when they canceled that show. Only lasted one season. But anyway, I was like, come on, Candy. Bitch, ain't nothing like another stream of income. So I love seeing Candy there. She looked like she might actually, this is probably a better role, because originally they said that they were going to have her play Dre's character. And I no, just no. This might work out better for her. The school that Kev and Jake go to, they're having a fundraiser. It is at, you know, someplace. And all the who's are there, you know, they're trying to, of course, raise money. So they got the students walking around and talking to the people and, you know, all of this. Kev is there with his mom, Nina. And, you know, Nina got to get used to this. You know, the white people that's, you know, trying to help the black people in the community that ain't got shit. Okay? So while Kev is talking, and Kev and Nina are talking to some of the people that are there, for instance, you know, they're just like, you know, maybe this will help Kev, you know, help Kevin become very successful in his life. And Nina was like, he was going to be successful with or without y'all. Okay. So, excuse me. We see Doodah and Candy there. I don't know what the wife name is yet. So they're also hobnobbing with the who's. Okay. The little black girl, you know, Ungawa Black Power girl. What is her name? I cannot think of it. I can't think of it. But anyway, she's there, and she's actually talking to Nina over at the side and, you know, kind of laughing with Nina. And Nina seems to like her a lot. You know, Kev says that he likes her a lot as well. And, you know, she picks up the little hint. So when Nina walks off, you know, Kev tells her that he has tickets to the civil rights exhibit at the museum, you know, and would she like to go? And she was just like, oh, you just happen to have tickets. And he was like, yeah, I have them. Do you want to go or not? And of course, she corrects him. Don't be talking to her like that. Then he says, well, will you meet me there? And she says that she will. So young love is in the air. Later on, we see her walking around with Jake. Now, Jake said he couldn't stand her, but for whatever reason, they walking around, and Jake sees this good-looking young black guy that's talking to a group of people, all the white folks around him. You know, they just hanging off his every word, and Jake was like, why they all hanging on your dad on his nutsack like that? Because he has a lot of money. So Jake was like, do he contribute to political campaigns? And I mean, the girl was like, I mean, I guess he would. Why wouldn't he? You know, so now Jake has an idea. He's going to introduce Doodah and Doodah's wife to the father of the little black girl. I can't keep calling her that, you guys. I'm sorry. Just maybe one or two people tell me her name. That's it. I don't need 50 people telling me. If you are watching this video even an hour after it's posted, trust me, they've already told me. So you ain't got to do it 3 days later. Shit. So Doodah goes up to him, you know, I'm Otis Perry. I'm running for mayor. Jake had introduced him as his father, but he actually clarifies and says, you know, Jake's brother used to work for me, and he was killed in senseless gun violence. So I took on Jake. You know, his mother is in rehab, you know, and him and his wife Candy weren't able to have kids. So, you know, it was his pleasure to take in Jake and take care of him. And, you know, he really lays it on thick. It's also thick that the father was just like, well, that's all. That is a lot of a story, isn't it? Like, you just gave me your whole biography right now. After the event, Nina and Kev, they go to Sonny's, you know, and they're eating the food, and Kev was saying how good it is, and Nina was saying how much she liked the little girl, and I think Kev likes her as well. That's clear. And she says, does she know about your sister? And Kev was just like, no, he ain't told nobody. He just don't want people feeling sorry for him. And like I said, poor Kev is just going through so much. And Nina, I do feel so bad for them kids. I got a special place in my heart for these kids, I'm telling you. But later on, we finally see that Kev and the young girl go to the exhibit. And, I think it would be very ideal to see some kids this age in a civil rights museum or exhibit and be this interested. I don't know many that would be, but this young girl is a little different than the children that we are used to. So, I'll go on and entertain it. She's just so upset with the Nina Simone exhibit. She says they watering it down, for the masses, and she ain't gonna have that. So she goes and finds the owner. Now, again, these are kids, okay? And she's all sassing the man and telling him, don't water down Nina Simone, da-da-da-da-da. I was just like, okay. I know what they're trying to do, and I can appreciate it, okay? But I was just like, don't make the child annoying. Now, let's switch gears and jump over to Dre. Okay, we see Dre come into the room where Keisha is getting ready. It looks like she's getting ready to go on a run. And it's clear that Keisha don't like Dre, and Dre tolerates Keisha. Keisha got a lot of mouth, she don't really respect Dre like that. Dre notices while they're having their little exchange, a little sassafras exchange, that Keisha has a tattoo on her back, and Keisha and Dre was like, look at that on your back, and then Keisha was like, oh my God, you're not gonna tell my mom, are you? And Dre was like, why don't you tell her so I don't have to? Keisha just kind of don't really pay no attention to Dre. She gets herself dressed, and then she runs out, and then she gets hit by a car, okay? And then we see Dre jump up. She's actually in the bed. She's actually dreaming. So none of that really happened. Well, the tattoo did happen, but not her getting hit by a car, evidently. I was like, that wasn't really well done, because if this is a dream, well, I'll address it later on in the show. Anyway, she jumps up. She goes to Keisha's room. She sees Nina in there. She's cleaning up. Nina says that she's just trying to get the room ready for when Keisha comes back. And Dre was like, something I don't? And she was like, no, I'm just trying to stay positive, trying to put positivity in the air so that she'll come back to me. Dre was like, have you heard anything else? And she said, well, the private investigator says he still needs like $5,000 more, because he's got to follow up on some other things. And Dre was like, he always needs some fucking money. Nina's getting frustrated, and Dre was like, I promise you somebody's gonna call soon enough, and we'll get some real answers here. Poor Nina, she just wants this to be over. I can't imagine being in her position. Now, we jump over to Ronnie, and we see Ronnie doing what Ronnie does best, going through the trash, okay? But actually this time Ronnie has a plan. He's not just going through the trash, he's actually staking out a joint. Whose joint? The white man that was at the vigil the other night. His joint. Evidently he didn't figure out where he lived, and he then went over to the house, and now he's hiding behind a trash can for the white man to leave in his car. Once the man does leave, then Ronnie goes and busts through his front door. I was like, Ronnie, do you know if anybody else is in this house? You just busting in, nigga. This is the easy way to get your ass killed. I was just like, what is... Come on now, this is too sensational. So anyway, Ronnie busts in there, and it's a TV going, so that would tell you that somebody is in there. You ain't got a weapon to first, just in here willy-nilly. Keisha, he calling Keisha and all of this. I said, good thing his voice is fucked up. Maybe the people can't hear him, whoever in the house. But anyway, he goes and he sees a door. It's the basement. He pushed the basement door open. Keisha! Nobody's answering, of course. So then he walks downstairs. I said, now you like the white people on the horror movies now, Ronnie. What is you doing, boy? He walked down the stairs, And yeah, the room is creepy. It's a bed down there. It's not made up. You know, I wouldn't sit my ass on it. I tell you that much. Ain't no telling what the fuck is on that bed. It's a teddy bear down there. It's a camera, like camera equipment. It's magazines on sex. It's pictures. You know, we don't really see what the pictures are, but Ronnie pull out his flip phone. He's homeless, but he got a flip phone now. Okay. He pull out his phone and he starts taking pictures of whatever the pictures are. He done went all through this man's house and didn't get caught. Next, we see him go back to Dre's house. Okay, knocks on the door, and Dre looks through the peephole and sees it's Ronnie, so she get the bat. Okay, gonna fuck her up with Ronnie if she got to. You know, so she opens it, but there's still the little chain on the door. And she was just like, what do you want? I got some information on Keisha. And she was like, what is it? Well, he goes on to tell her about this white guy that he was in jail with. His name was Jeremiah Byers, and he just got out not too long ago. And he is a sexual predator, so he's on the sexual predators list. I saw him at the vigil the other day, you know. And so, you know, he just had his good eye on old Jeremiah. And she was just like, that's not enough to do anything. I know, that's why I broke in his house. You broke in his house? I broke in his house and I went in there and I took these pictures. It's all kind of shit down there. None of it is good news. She was like, well, we need to call the police. No, if we call the police, we'll only tip them off. Okay, instead, Ronnie got a better idea. Let's confront this man, you and me together. She was just like, why are you so invested in all of this? I promised my grandmother that I would do something good with my life. So, he actually convinces Dre to go and confront the man. Dre goes up to him like, you know where Keisha is? You know where Keisha is? And he was just like, I don't know where no damn Keisha is. You better let me go, because she got him all hemmed up in her hands. And Ronnie was just like, I saw you at the vigil the other night. And he was like, and? Ronnie says, and I know what's in your house. I went in your house and you got pictures of underage girls naked in there, you know, and if you being a sexual predator, you know, Drake and Ronnie got him hemmed up on the car now. They're like, you know, you being a sexual predator, you can go back to jail. And Jeremiah was like, I erase my browser every day, even though I'm just like, they can still find stuff. You can erase the browser and all that, they can still find it. Okay, but obviously Jeremiah, Ronnie, nor Dre knows this. So anyway, they all on top of the man. The man need Ronnie in his nuts. You know, Ronnie collapses down. The man gets up, runs to his car, gets inside. Dre follows him, you know, is knocking on the window like, open this door, open this door. And do you think that Jeremiah's gonna open the door? Dre lucky that Jeremiah didn't beat her ass up in that street. You know, he was a big old white man. Ain't nobody trying to tussle with him. But anyway, he take off driving down the street. I was just like, well, you guys fucked that plan up, didn't you? So later on, we see Ronnie going through the trash again. This time he's at Sonny's and Sonny's trash, you know, opens it up. The trash is actually quite clean considering, okay? Real nicely on the top there is a styrofoam, you know, that somebody threw out. He opens it up and jackpot is one bite off of a piece of fried chicken. I said, that must have been one of my damn kids wasting shit back in the day. It was a whole fucking meal, just one bite off the chicken and some greens looked like, and some other like macaroni and cheese or something, and it looked pretty fresh. And Ronnie decided to eat it. I was just like, oh, this is just like, I can't get used to this character of him being homeless and eating food all out of trash cans and all that. For some reason, it's hard for me to accept this considering what his character has been for the last 2 years, you know. But whatever. While he's in the trash, though, he pulls out like some piece of little metal. I don't know what that was, but it gives him some sort of idea. And then next thing we know, him and Dre are back at Jeremiah's house. You know, this time Jeremiah's pulling up in his car and he gets out the car and he says, you guys are harassing me. I can call the police and say that you guys are harassing me. And this time, I guess what Ronnie pulled out the trash was this big ass piece of metal bar. He hit Jeremiah on the side of his leg, so Jeremiah goes down. Down goes Frazier. Now Dre ain't playing. You better talk, because that man right there is homeless and he ain't got shit to lose. Where is she? And he was just like, she's at the 63rd Street beach. Well, that wasn't hard at all, was it? I was just like, all right, let's just get this show on the road. Okay, next we see Nina. She gets a phone call and she looks very upset. you know, and all we hear her saying is just like, no. And I was just like, oh Lord, did they find Keisha? Now, remember I told you that Kev and the little girl was at the exhibit. We see his phone ring while he's talking to the girl, and she gets on him, you know, reprimands him. Can you get off of the phone and be in the moment? Kev was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. So he actually turns off his phone. Okay, so he doesn't get the call from Nina. Back to Nina, we see her pull up at this, what looks to be a crime scene. There's a lot of police cars, an ambulance there, coroner. I was gonna say Corona. This shit has gotten me crazy. A coroner's van. All of that is there. You know, Dre is standing there waiting for Nina. You know, when Nina walks up, she's got this look on her face like, I cannot believe this can't be true. You know, and Dre is just like, come on, you know, leads her up this grassy hill. You see the police up there, an investigator, somebody taking a picture of a body, obviously. Nina's like, I can't do this, but Dre's like, you can do that. And they walk up and you can see that it's a black girl, but the girl has been there probably for some time. So there's been some, I'm sure there's been some decomposition, so they probably can't really see her face that well. But she looks to be about her size and her color. So Dre tells her to turn her over on her stomach. She wants to see her back to see if she has a tattoo. And Nina was like, she doesn't have a tattoo on her back. And Dre was like, yeah, she does. You know, turn her over. And this is what I'm talking about at the beginning when I was saying that it was a dream. Now, if it was a dream, then in the dream she has a tattoo, but in real life she actually has a tattoo. That was like a flaw in the writing somewhere. I mean, I know we can still assume that it really was a tattoo there, you know, and that they had some part of this conversation, but the writer in me was just like, But anyway, next we see Kev just running home, you know, full speed. He busts in the door and sees Nina sitting on the couch, and she's just crying, and she says it wasn't her. They're still just crying. I was like, ooh, this is too much for a parent to have to bear. But I had figured that this wasn't gonna be her. It's too early in the season. All right, you guys, now let's switch it up. It seems that Camille Hollowell is running for mayor. She's going to be running against Otis Perry, or Doodah, whatever you guys are calling them these days, okay? And she's actually addressing the congregation at Papa's daddy's church. And so when she gets up there, then it's Lena, okay? And Lena looks like Lena, and you can tell that the congregation was not expecting this when he said, you know, that she was running for mayor. So they kind of looking at her with the side eye, okay? So she has to do a lot of work to try to get them on her side. She tells him about a little kid that had been shot and killed. You know, this wasn't the community that she grew up in. You know, back then, everybody was for everybody. You know, it was a village. You know, if you did something wrong, your neighbors would whoop your ass about it and brought you home and talked to your parents. And, you know, everybody was there for each other. Now, they can't barely even recognize their neighborhoods. We got to lead ourselves. We live in this community. This is where we from. Our ancestors worked hard for us to have this community, you know, and they fought hard in these streets, and now we just gonna leave it to other people to take over? No. Doodah don't care about you. But I'm not a politician, and I do care about you guys. I know y'all don't know me, okay, but I want you to know me. I want you to know my family. I want you guys to get to know me. I know I'm not perfect, but neither are you guys, okay? But what I do want is for us all in this community and in this city to do better. She'd start throwing out some statistics of them and how Chicago is really trying to gentrify and run all the black people out. I guess over the last 15 years, 250,000 black people have left the city. They can't afford to live there. Blopty blue. Okay, so by the time she gets to the end of her speech, it looks like the people are actually feeling her. Okay, and again, Camille Hollowell will be running for mayor. How'd you guys think Lena did? I know Lena's done some acting, but how did you guys think that she did in her speech to the congregation? Afterwards, we see her talking to Papa's daddy, and she hands him a big old wad of money. And Papa actually kind of sees from afar, and he was like, Daddy, what is she giving you money for? And, you know, his father was just like, boy, if you don't stay in a child's place, get out of grown people's business. Okay, and I was like, oh, damn. Right when I thought that Camille Hollowell was going to be on the up and up, you mean you giving payola to the man too? See, this ain't right. I'm not sure what that was about, actually. Maybe she will still end up being a good guy. Now, let's wrap it on up. We see Candy in the car with Doodah. Jake is also in the car. Oh, so having the child is a nice touch. Doodah was like, it ain't really about that. Oh, so you wanted to be a daddy now? He says that he was, you know, didn't want him then. He was young and whatever, but he's ready now. I always knew that you would be a good dad. So she scoots closer to him and she was just like, this is nice. And he was just like, no, now. We got to keep this whole thing business. Okay, now let's not lose focus. Why are you running for mayor anyway? And we get a typical story of Doodah, you know, growing up in Inglewood and them telling them that he couldn't ever do, you know, great things. He told a teacher or somebody that he wanted to be a mayor, and they told him that that was too big a dream, you know, that he couldn't do it. So now he wants to pretty much prove the naysayers wrong. That's why he wants to be a mayor. So then we see Ronnie. He's at Papa's daddy's church. He's praying, you know, feeling troubled about the body at the lake, you know, that wasn't Keisha's. Pastor asked him why was he down there in the first place, and he said, because the voice told me to. Papa Daddy said, oh, you hearing voices now? You know, like from the Lord? Well, it wasn't just like that. God put me in the right place. Pastor said, well, sometimes the Lord don't speak to everybody, but he will lead you. So Pastor offers to Ronnie to let him, you know, help him get closer to God, you know, and that way it'll be easier for you to speak with God and find out exactly what he wants you to do. And lastly, you guys, we see Nina and Dre. And actually, this was cool the way they shot this. I liked the way they shot this. They're sitting next to each other, both of them smoking a cigarette or a blunt, not quite sure what, but everybody looking stressed out. Dre tells Nina that she's sorry that she didn't tell her about the tattoo. Nina was like, psh, I got way more things to worry about than some damn tattoo on a girl's back. Don't worry about that. She is relieved, like I said, that wasn't Keisha. However, that was somebody else's daughter. And that's actually sad as well. And then the camera just pans back while they both are just sitting there smoking a cigarette and it's all dark around them. And then the show ends. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I'm itsrox. The channel's for itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.